board, as you know, in a previous action last week, looked at it and said if we aren't back in school, in-person instruction by May 4th without restrictions, then there's just really no chance to be able to have any kind of meaningful spring activity season.
And not only did he say May 7th, which is past your May 4th, but it's still up to the schools and their local districts anyway, which 100% participation probably isn't happening there.
Well, it is, and there's still restrictions, you know, your social distancing guidelines, which how are you going to do that? Sometimes like with track meets and the number of kids that are going to be there, not only just participating, but also as they get together, you know, on the infield and all that, but softball, you know, everybody's touching the ball, and then you have them in the dugouts. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to consider there, and there's still going to be restrictions, so it really would have been difficult.
How difficult is it that this, you know, even though there are still those restrictions, it's 3 days after that hard deadline you guys set, and I imagine if you haven't already, you'll hear those, well, why couldn't we just practice Thursday through Sunday, twice a day, get 10 practices, and then go, you know, whatever it's going to be.
I think it's important to make sure they note that it's only 3 days, however, there's still the restrictions. That's what the board was looking at, and I think that was an important piece to it.
What was that conversation with the board like? I mean, was there any hesitation at all, or trying to look for any loopholes or anything? Or?
Well, they had given me the authority to go ahead and make that decision when it came out. And then, of course, I double-checked, wanted to make sure there wasn't anything out there I was missing, and they were all, yes, no, that's where we're at. Because the other factor in there that I think people are forgetting, too, is that we have a lot of schools that may not be back in school, and we have a requirement that says kids have to be in the bricks and mortar of the school for 2 periods a day to participate concurrently in an activity season. So there'd be a lot of schools that wouldn't be able to participate because they'd be out of school but still couldn't say, okay, we're going to send our kids anyway. So what would that look like? You know, what if we had 10 AA schools that decided they're not going to? Well, then it'd only be a spring sports season for 4 AA schools. I mean, that's just an example, but what would it have looked like?
Kind of a two-part question, but how disappointing is it for you guys to not be able to go through with this? And obviously, I think the release also mentioned the seniors specifically.
Yeah, it's very difficult for the seniors. You know, you look at some of these kids that this is their last opportunity to ever participate in a spring sport. There's a lot of them that are looking for personal bests or looking for championships. And there's a lot of teams that are looking at that they would have done really well too. And of course the seniors, definitely. So yeah, it is difficult. We've never been through this type of thing before, and hopefully we'll never be through it again. But I guess when you look at it in the long run, the most important thing is the safety of our kids, of our fans, of our umpires, of our coaches, and to make sure that they're safe. And right now, even with the way things are, that really wasn't going to be the best scenario to put our kids in.
Where do we go from here? I mean, a lot of people are already talking about fall, even though we've got a few months to try and figure things out.
Well, we've already talked as a staff. We're looking at some alternate plans in case we have a delay to make sure we can still have some season formats to make sure that we get them done so that we're not bumping into others. So we're looking at that, but we're very hopeful that, you know, by that time, with all the things that people are doing, that we'll be okay and be able to just get back to maybe never normal, but into at least some kind of normalcy.